your first official lesson in Chapter 7. We're looking at dividing things by 2, which is also the same as dividing things in half. Our objective is use models to present division by 2, which means you're going to be drawing things out. The essential question is, what does dividing by 2 mean? And we'll be talking about that. Keep that in mind because remember at the end of the lesson you will be journaling about that. So working within the Common Core standard of representing and solving equations involving multiplication and division. Problem of the day. The State Fair sold 417 tickets on Friday and 258 tickets on Saturday. How many more tickets were sold on Saturday than on Friday? How many more is our Q word that tells us that we need to find the difference? So you will find 417 minus 258. Knowing that you can't take 8 from 7, you're going to have to borrow. So you have 17 minus 8, which is 9. Again, you can't take 5 from 0, so you're going to have to go to your hundreds place and borrow a 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. So it would be 159 tickets. Make sure that you're always making sure if you need to borrow or not. Okay, our brains are warmed up. We looked at some problem solving. We underlined our important information. We circled our question. Then we were able to solve our problem, showing our work, and labeling. So we're going to start in our math books on page 253. Problem solving. There are 10 hummingbirds and 2 feeders in Marissa's backyard. If there are an equal number of birds at each feeder, how many birds are at each one? Okay, so I underlined my important numbers and I've circled my question. What do we need to find? Goes right here. How many birds? And I'm just going to say at each because they didn't give me much room. Circle the numbers you need to use. We just underlined them. And what can you use to help you solve the problem? We're going to draw it out today. You could also use your counting tiles at your centers if you need to. Okay. Looking at what to do. The model, you're going to use 10 counters. You're going to draw 2 circles because we're cutting them in half, so you have 2 groups. You're going to place 1 counter at a time in each circle until all 10 counters are used, and draw the rest of the counters to show your work. So we're actually going to start right here. We have our 1 group, our 2 group. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there are how many counters in each of the 2 groups? This is sure that we have equal numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there are 5 counters in each of the groups. Make sure you're actually drawing those out and labeling them. So there are 5 hummingbirds at each feeder. If we do the thinking behind the math of why the math works, you're going to start with how many hummingbirds we have in we made how many equal groups? Since we're cutting them in half, we're making 2 because of the 2 feeders. And so you would have 10 divided by 2, which gave us how many was in each group, for an equal of 5. They did that also right here, remembering that you can use that division bar also. So to read the problem that I just wrote, you would do 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Okay. Looking down at the very bottom of my screen, Math Talk explain what each number in 10 divided by 2 equals 5 represents in the word problem. Which is all you need to do is go back up to the word problem. The 10 represents the 10 hummingbirds, divided by the 2, which is the 2 feeders, equaling the 5 hummingbirds at each feeder. Make sure that you can talk yourself through those so that you make sure that your answers and your problems make sense, that you're dividing when you should be dividing. Because as we get to more procedures that we do with multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition, if you talk yourself through them, you'll be able to understand if you should be multiplying, dividing, adding, or subtracting. On the next page, it looks like we're going to still work with some hummingbirds. There are 10 hummingbirds in Tyler's backyard. If there are 2 hummingbirds at each feeder, how many feeders are there? Okay, so this time we're going to use our 10 counters again, and you're going to circle a group of 2 counters because we have groups of 2 hummingbirds. Okay, and notice that they had 10 of these drawn out for us. So you're making groups of 2. Now you need to figure out how many groups you had. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there are 5 groups of 2 counters, so there are 5 feeders. You can divide to find the number in each group or find the number of equal groups. So we had 10 hummingbirds in all. We wanted 2 birds at each feeder, so there are 2 in each group, and then we ended up with 5 equal groups. So going down here, you have 10 divided by 2 equaling 5. So 10 is your total number of hummingbirds. 2 were at each feeder for a total of 5 groups at feeders. Remember, as always, if I'm going too fast, you can go back and watch it again, or you can pause it and look at your page and see if you can talk yourself through it. Going down to show and share, complete the picture to find 6 divided by 2. So 2 is my total numbers of groups, so I have 2 groups, and I need to count out 6. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you go back and make sure that you have the same number in each of your groups. So I have 3 in each group, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. Remember that division is the opposite of multiplication, so to check this, I can go 2 times 3 equaling 6, and check that my related facts are all the same. I'm using the same 3 digits. On number 2, write a division equation for the picture. So I need to see how many total groups, how many total that I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is my total number. So that's always going to go first. Divided by how many groups do I have? 2, 3, and 4 equals how many in each group? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. I want you to finish number 3 and 4 doing the same thing. And then your next page is on your own. You're going to write a division equation for the picture. Then you're going to find the quotient. Back and see if you can remember what quotient means. Draw a quick picture to help you. And yes, I want you to actually use this space down here to draw a quick picture for each one of those, please. On the bottom, you're finding the missing unknown factor, remembering that the opposite of division is multiplication. Two numbers, it'll give you this answer. You'll do that at the end of the lesson. Today, I want you to go ahead and try to do the problem solving on your own. 2 hummingbirds of the same type have a mass of 10 grams. Which type of hummingbirds are they? Write a division equation to show and find your answer. So, I need to find out there are 2 hummingbirds with the same mass of 10 grams. Okay? So I'm looking for 10 is my big number, my total number, and I'm dividing that by 2 hummingbirds and see what my answer is, and then using my table to find that out. The table title is Hummingbirds. Your first column is your type. Your second column is your mass in grams. Number 22, there are 3 ruby-throated hummingbirds and 2 of another type of hummingbirds. Their total mass is 23 grams in all. See if you can figure this one out. And then your last one, there are 12 hummingbird eggs in all. There are 2 eggs in each nest. How many nests are there? So you're going to start with your hummingbirds with 2 in each nest. And then your test prep. Joe sees the same number of birds each hour for 2 hours. She sees 16 birds in all. How many birds does Joe see each hour? Go ahead and use your white space to solve all of those problems. Then go back and do your on your own page and finish the 3 and 4 on this page. When you're finished, you're going to do your essential question, what does dividing by 2 mean? And then explain how divide an amount by 2. Use the terms dividend, divisor, and quotient, which should still be in your math journal from chapter 6 where you started with your terms.